The weather is sporadic today, my friends. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. For this adventure, we are off trail in the green forest. For today's trip, we are out to explore more of this area. Already we've seen quite a bit, but in truth, we really haven't seen anything at all. This area here is massive. It's good to be back. It's been a while. I mean, the place is just so incredibly beautiful, so unique. I just love it. I really do. My plan at the moment is pretty loose. I'm going to follow some game trails and just go up on top of this mountain. We'll just see where they go together. Later on today, we'll set up camp, we'll have lunch, and you never know. It may rain, it may storm. Speaking of which, everybody, it has rained and stormed steadily for an entire week straight. Since the last overnight adventure, it has been nothing but rain. In a way, all this rain has been a good thing because I've been able to do a ton of testing. But because it hasn't stopped raining until today for a few hours, I have a ton of wet gear at home. I'll talk all about that stuff later on. For now, folks, let's hike. As I've been hiking along here, I've been keeping track of the scat that I've come across. So far, bear and deer. Without a doubt, there's black bear in this area, bobcats as well. Some claim to have seen mountain lions out here, but I have not. If they're out here, they're very rare, no matter what. One of my hobbies when I'm out in the forest off trail is to track. I like to track the animals that are coming and going. If you go slow and you pay attention, the forest will speak to you almost like a book will. Already we've come across numerous piles of scat. I know there's a buck out here, there's a doe, and there's some babies. At the same time, I could tell where they're coming and going from. And I could see this not only by the trails that they leave, but by the moss that they've knocked off of the trees here. Right here, I could tell that a deer's been laying down. This is an area that they frequent quite often. Some of the poop on the ground, the scat, it's fairly old. A lot of it is new. This impression here is new. When I was a kid, my grandfather, he taught me how to track. He would call it cutting a sign. It's an amazing skill to have that can be life-saving in some situations, in addition to it just being useful for general knowledge. As I stand here, I'm seeing numerous trails. Which one to follow? As I was walking past this tree here, I noticed some dripping from it. This shows you all just how much rain has been falling in this area. This tree has to be absolutely waterlogged for that much water to be dripping out of it. Without a doubt, water is not a rarity in these mountains, and it's something that I'm so incredibly thankful for. Let's say if I had no water right now, I can go find water if I needed to. In this case, I could take water right from this moss that's growing on the tree. But let's say that there was no tree here and there's just moss on the ground. This moss is full of water. You can grab a chunk of that moss and you could just squeeze it out right into your mouth. It will be dirty, but it's perfectly safe, filtered, and safe to drink. You may have noticed I've been taking a look at my watch ever so often. That's because I am recording this GPS track. Also, I set a waypoint earlier today. So the green little arrow play button thing, that's where I started the track at. The blue arrow is where I'm at now, and the red arrow is my waypoint, which happens to be up here on this mountain. Wow, everybody, this place is really cool. It's actually somewhat flat up here, and the moss itself is really, really thick, even more so than some of the other areas that we've explored. The breeze coming through the forest here is amazing. As it stands today, it's not all that hot, but it's so humid, it really does make it that much worse. Now, you all may remember this forest, or I should say, it may look familiar to you. I've investigated this area for Bigfoot a number of times. Never found anything. Came across some bear scat, some oddities in the forest, but nothing conclusive, nothing that would lead me to think that Bigfoot exists. With that being said though, there are a number of Bigfoot stories that have originated from this area with hunters and so on. All of the stories are definitely interesting, I'll say that much. Alright everybody, we are getting very close to the waypoint that I set. In fact, that rock right there is it. I've been to this area before, namely with this rock, but I haven't come up that way before. I haven't seen that side of the mountain. This area is huge, so what I've done is basically set everything up as far as the map goes into quadrants. This is a quadrant, and in the middle of this quadrant is that rock. One of my favorite things to do when I'm exploring an area is to explore the entire thing, and that's what I'm working on here. Yes, I'm interested in the Bigfoot stories, but that's not the primary reason why I come to this area. The primary reason is because it is beautiful, and there are some mysteries here. For an example, on the other side of this rock at the edge of that quadrant, there is a gigantic tractor tire. Now, how that tire got into the middle of this forest and when it got here, I have no idea. The thing is, folks, we are out in the middle of nowhere. There's no roads. There's no way to get in here. How did that tire get here? How old is it? I have questions. I have no answers. That's how it goes. At the same time, something else that I've discovered in this area is that at one point in time, someone was doing a study of the trees in this forest. On another quadrant, I discovered tree tags. Each tree individually numbered. Somebody was keeping track of them for some reason. Maybe it was a university. It could have been the Forestry Service. I have no idea. These are just some of the mysteries of the forest, my friends. I need to decide what I'm going to do now. I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to head back down the mountain and I'm going to find a nice place to set up a camp at. From there, we'll make some coffee and have a late lunch. a very, very late lunch. Yes, I am taking a different way down. We might as well explore more of this forest while we're out here. This is a really interesting spot that I found here. It's so interesting, in fact, that I may use this in the future as a campsite. This is a really cool spot. There's only one problem though. There's a lot of wind. It is simply too windy at the moment. I think I will head back up on top of the hill just a little bit, just to get out of the wind. Let the trees do most of the blocking. This, my friends, is perfect. This is the flattest spot that I have found all day. That is raging hot. I'm sure it's good, but it is too hot to drink. That is a double hazelnut Taster's Nasty blend with a Maxpresso 3-in-1. Oh yeah. As far as the time goes, getting on into the afternoon, going into the evening, the weather's been interesting. It kind of clears up, the sun comes out, and then all of a sudden it gets super, super dark. To be honest, I'm on edge. I feel like at any moment it could start raining or maybe storming or something like that. You may have wondered why I wear sunglasses all the time. That is because I suffer from a condition that basically results in like the ultimate dry eye condition. So anytime that I can wear sunglasses, I put them on because it protects my eyes basically from drying out even more so. So think of it as like having dry eyes, which means red eyes, which means like scratchy eyes. Take it to like the 10th power. That is what my eyes feel like most of the time. So it's like every time I blink, it's like rubbing sandpaper on my eyeballs. And basically this condition has come about by being in the outdoors my entire life, constantly being out in the wind and stuff like that. Basically it's like it dried up all of the oils in my eyes. It's like you have little glands along your eyes that go all the way around, and those glands feed tears to your eyes to lubricate them. If you're constantly in the wind like I am, it will dry out your eyes, it'll clog up those tear ducts, those glands, and you will have the condition just like I do. There are procedures that can be done to unclog them. They are exceptionally expensive, and sometimes they don't work. Sometimes you have to do it over and over and over again. I've thought about having it done, but then it's one of those things, how do you keep them open? So, I don't know. You know, it's just like anything else, anyone else. Everybody suffers from something, you know what I mean? That coffee is awesome, everybody. It's really, really good. Today's been a lot of fun, just exploring the mountain here. I set a couple of waypoints on my GPS and I will come back. I have thought about putting the trail cams out again, and I'm even more interested in doing so now. Not because of Bigfoot or anything like that, but because of the bear scat that I came across, which is basically at where I parked my vehicle. There's some big piles of bear scat, and I have come across bear scat before in this forest, but I haven't captured any black bear on my trail cameras that I've put out here. Oh yeah, everybody. Check this out. You see this bag here? Guess who made this? Susie did. She ordered some Dynamo material, a zipper, and she was able to make this for $15. This is the lightest weight bag I have ever used, ever. Susie did such a great job on this. It absolutely looks professional. She's going to make me a whole bunch of these for my kit bags, and I'm incredibly thankful. Generally speaking, Dynamo material bags like this are fairly expensive. Something like this could easily be 40 to 50 bucks. For dinner tonight, we have Pinnacle Foods Sticky Teriyaki Chicken. My buddy Greg sent this to me. My friend, thank you so much for everything. I really do appreciate all that you do for me. You are the man. And all of a sudden, it's dark. Just like that. The clouds are getting pretty thick, pretty dark, which is in turn making the forest look dark. We've been receiving so much rain lately, I would be okay if it didn't rain. I'd like to finish up our meal, hike out of here, and keep everything dry. Talking about the weather and what we've been going through for the last week and a half or so. Every single day, all day long, rain. At nighttime, storms come in. It rains all night. When we wake up, it's storming. It literally has been non-stop until today. It rained until about noon. Then once I started hiking, it cleared up, and so far, so good. Luckily, after Saturday, today's Thursday, the rain is supposed to move out and it's supposed to dry up for a couple of days. And that's good because I have a ton of wet gear to dry out. Let's see, I have 3 tents, a bivvy, 1 large tarp, 3 ground sheets, 4 ground sheets, and I think that's it. The thing is, everybody, it's not like I have a warehouse to dry all of this gear out at. I live in a very small, very modest house that was built by my grandfather in the 40s. We remodeled it. It's, I don't know, 1,000 square foot, something like that. Super small. So once the kids moved out, one of their bedrooms became my gear room. So all of my gear is inside of that room. And because of that, because I'm so limited on space, I can't keep it all. I wish I could. I love every piece of gear, even the garbage stuff. If it wasn't for Susie, I would be a gear hoarder. I'd be sleeping on top of that stuff. Gear, sorry. If you ever wanted to know what I do with all of the gear that I get, that I purchase and test out, I donate, I would say 60 to 70% of it. Some of it I just throw away. Like the garbage stuff, I'm not gonna give that away. You know what I mean? Not unless I'm giving it to a kid to play with. But what Susie and I like to do is donate the gear that we're not going to use to youth groups and so on. And of course, it has to make sense. Some things they just don't need. With the gear that doesn't make sense to donate, we sell it on our website, The Outdoor Gear Review. You will find a gear sale page. Susie handles all of this stuff. We've been doing this for years, basically giving good deals to our viewers. If you take a look at the website, you find something that you want, shoot us an email, we'll work out the details. We have a problem, everybody. I've been wondering if I've been hearing some thunder for a while now. It was far off, I couldn't quite tell. It could have been a jet. That's no jet. I think it's time to go home. I've had a great trip, I've stayed dry. I think I'm going to keep it that way. Plus, I'm just about out of space for wet stuff. I'm gonna have to spend all of next week drying out gear. It's pretty funny. Man, I love listening to the sound of thunder. The sound of thunder off in the distance. It's beautiful. It's exciting. I could tell that like a storm is coming. The temperature's just plummeting all of a sudden. It's actually getting quite chilly. I mentioned a little while ago that the temperature's been dropping. It has to have dropped at least 20 degrees. It is cold out. The thunder's getting closer. That means the storm's getting closer. It is time for me to rock and roll. My friends, it is definitely time for me to go. The storm that's heading our way, it's going to be a big one, I think. I should have enough time to make it to my vehicle before it starts, but I need to leave right now. If you've enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you all next week with the next reviews and the next adventures. Make sure to check out my second YouTube channel, A Quiet Place Adventures. Every single week, a brand new adventure just like this, but with no talking. It definitely turns the whole thing upside down. People love it. The channel's doing great. Thank you all so much for your support. I've got to go. Everybody, take care, be well, strength and honor. Bye for now.